Hello, everybody, and welcome in to episode 55 of the Dorton and Doetkott Debate podcast. I'm Lucas Dorton. Nick Doetkott obviously is here. We have a new face on the podcast. He's got the Twins hat on. You already know what we're going to be talking about today. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey guys, I'm Jaren Skarphol. I went to Bethany with Lucas. I'm a huge Twins fan. Like, I live and breathe Twins. I'd say behind Vikings football, they're the second most diehard sports team that I have, honestly. I know a lot about the Twins. I live and breathe for them, honestly. I get into a lot of Twitter fights about them, unneeded with White Sox fans, but it's warranted. You know, we gotta let them know who boss is. I mean,
That's right. Yeah, I mean you gotta step up for your team.
We do. You do have to, and it's one of the only ones. I don't really defend the Vikings as much as I defend the Twins. Like, I honestly will go to bat for them any day, even when it's not warranted. I will go to bat for them. Like, I have to.
That's a true fan right there. That is a true fan. Especially when you win, too, like you guys have been doing the last couple of years. You probably find yourselves amongst a lot of haters.
The haters come. They always come. The White Sox, like Tim Anderson just said, that they're the best team in the AL. I'm like, you're not even the best team in the AL Central. Like, that's right. You know, like,
I wish the Twins would back us up in the playoffs one of these days. But
honestly, my picture perfect scenario, because I've been to the Rocket Stadium. I love the game, the fun. My picture perfect would be seeing you guys in the World Series, because that'd be so much fun for me too. Because just like being able to like potentially go into the games here and there would be awesome. You know.
Oh man, I would love that more than just about anything. But after trading Nolan, I don't think we're going to be sniffing the playoffs in a while.
No, I don't think you'll catch me at a game anymore after Nolan's gone, because that was the one thing holding me there. But
yeah, it's worth the price of admission there. Whenever things were bad, you can always count that Nolan was going to do something great.
He had a home run the game I went to, so I was like, I mean, this is only I came to see.
Yeah.
So,
that's awesome. That's awesome. Cool. So, yeah, we'll just get right into the swing of things here, guys. Talk about the Twins. Let me pull up my notes here on my phone here quick. All right. So, last year, obviously, 60 games. Twins finished 36-24, which was good for first in the Central Division. Jaren, we'll start with you. What were some of the highlights and what kind of led to the Twins having the success that they did last year, in your opinion?
I think bringing in Josh Donaldson, even though he didn't play as very many games as we would like him to, just having him in the locker room with Nelson Cruz in locker rooms with, like, you know, the leadership they brought in was amazing. I think towards the end of the year with, like, the home run robes that they got, those things just helped boost, like, you know, the young guys, like, boost the spirit. Like, hey, if you hit over, it's the fun atmosphere, fun stuff that we're doing. It didn't really play out in the playoffs as much as we wanted it to, but, you know, just seeing that the progression that we took with the team, I think we did really well. There's some moves that I didn't really like that management made, you know, in playoffs, like, why are you doing this? Or say we bring up our rookie, like, or he's a really high prospect, Kirilloff, but we bring him up in a do-or-die game. Like, he did okay, but, like, if we're going to do that, why not bring him up early in a 60-game season to get him his reps in before, you know? That's so stupid. And, like, with Royce Lewis, I mean, he got hurt this year, but why not bring him up last year and let him get some playing time? Because 60 games doesn't like it's matter. It doesn't matter. Yeah. Like, you know, that's just stuff that drove me crazy with last year. And our pitching, too. Like, our bullpen was – Lucas seen me on Twitter get mad at them multiple times. Let's call them out the bullpen. It wasn't cool.
Jaren, if you spent one day at our place, Nick, I can't tell you how many times he brings up getting upset at the Twins for never bringing up their prospects.
It's just –
yeah, go ahead.
I just don't understand it.
Well, they won't call you up until you're 23 years old. It's just –
and at that point, it might be, like, too late, you know? Right. Like, we get these guys that are, like, they're over first overall draft picks, first rounds. Why not bring them up and let them play? I don't understand I just don't get it.
Lucas is right. He's probably about ready to slap me after all the times he's heard me say Juan Soto was 20 years old and almost won World Series MVP. And the Twins –
exactly.
And Guerrero Jr., Tatis Jr., Acuna, they're all like 21 years old, and the Twins
like Bo Bichette.
The Twins won't even think about calling you up. They won't even put the thought
like Nick Gordon has been in.
23 years old. Nick Gordon should have called like 3 years ago.
He's been there since I was like 12. Honestly, like he's been in the organization since I was a young kid. I mean, you're just gonna waste away at the minors then? Like, you're supposed to be like your brother, like supposed to be better than your brother, and you haven't been. touched the lick of Major League Ball.
Honestly,
I don't get that.
What do you think the mindset they have after a while? Oh, we've been here for 5 years. We keep getting better, but we don't get called up. Oh,
I mean, you might as well stop caring at that point. I know it's the love of the game,
right?
but
it's like, frick, reward somebody for one.
Yeah, that's funny. So, Nick, Jaren kind of talked about the things he thought went well. What about you? Obviously, I'm sure the Donaldson thing, although he didn't play too much, having that veteran leadership there and showing that, this is a guy that has had success, won an MVP, and he was with Toronto. So, obviously, a phenomenal player. What were some other things that you thought that the Twins did well last year?
Well, obviously the Maeda signing or trade. Maeda was number 2, I believe, in AL Cy Young voting, and he was an absolute stud last year. He's not going to blow you away, although he did have some double-digit K games. I think
he did.
He had I think he had a one hitter or like a two hit. I think he had like two hitters or something.
Two hitters. The one went like down to the last inning too, where the defense messed him up there. It wasn't his fault.
When we traded for him, most people were not a fan of it. Me, however, I was. Now get back to the prospects thing. Now the Twins never call these prospects up, right? But then they called up Gratterall a while back, and he's supposed to be a stud, a flamethrower. And we traded him to Dodgers, and now he has done good with the Dodgers. He just won a World Series for them and pitched quality innings in the World Series. But I have countless times said, a prospect is just a prospect. That's all they are. Sure, they might end up panning out, but if you're good and ready to win, I'm always 100% of the time going to trade a prospect for proven talent, and that's what we did in getting Maeda. Now, did I think Maeda was going to be second in the AL?
No, definitely
but
not.
I expected at least a decent pitcher, and a starting pitching is probably our weakest spot the prior year where we had 101 wins. So I was all for that trade. And yes, it would be nice to have Gratterall, but let's be honest. Who would have gotten us more wins last year, Gratterall or Maeda?
That's true.
Maeda was almost a Cy Young winner. So,
and the thing about it is, it's like he came in here right away and became our ace because Rios had a bad season. And I would say that he's our ace. We're gonna go to a game that we need to win. I'm throwing Maeda right away.
Exactly. He pitched game 1 of the playoffs.
A quality start. Exactly.
And now Gratterall may end up being very good. He may end up, but right now we needed Maeda more, and it worked out. So that was to me the big one. Donaldson, yes, you mentioned, unfortunately on the field he didn't really do much. He got injured. He actually played more than I thought. He played like 20-some games, but he didn't have 100 at bats, and he was injured while playing, I think, practically too. So that didn't work out. But I never realized how much of a locker room impact necessarily guys could be until 2 years ago when we got Cruz. They said specifically with the Latino players on the team, we have a lot of Dominican Republic players, Puerto Rican, Venezuelan, and Cruz is, I believe, Dominican Republic. They got along really well, and Cruz is a better hitter at age 39, 40, 38, or whenever we got him than almost anybody ever, to be quite honest. So
exactly,
he's been around. He knows what he's doing. Players are going to listen to him, and I think Cruz's locker room impact really showed 2 years ago, and Donaldson very well may have brought that last year. Now this year, hopefully, Donaldson can stay healthy because we'll get into it later, but what I'm looking forward to this year, the Twins' left side of the infield defensively was
literally unstoppable. You're not getting a ball through it.
And now with Donaldson and Simmons, they could potentially be darn near the best. So we'll see. I'm hoping for a healthy year from Donaldson, but to go back to your question, I think the Maeda trade was definitely the biggest factor as far as what we did differently or roster-wise to get to where we were last year.
For sure. So now we can move into the playoffs. Now, I know sometimes it's a sore subject. Playoffs and Twins typically is not something that does well. I can't say much. The Rockies make the playoffs once every 10 years, so I can't talk too much. But
you at least win a series, though.
Well, we won a wild card game 2 years ago, but
yeah.
But anyways,
regardless.
So Jaren, talk to me through the Twins' playoff struggles. You kind of briefly mentioned it that they did some things that you weren't quite a fan of. So what were those things that you didn't like that the Twins did in the playoffs? You mentioned Kirilloff, obviously.
Well, yeah, Kirilloff, bringing him up, and it's nothing against him. He's a good player. He's going to be a great. But just in that situation, bringing him up, there was no need for it. If that was going to be the case. And with Eddie Rosario, I'll get into him why. I loved him, but he just like is an idiot. Like you don't go. That's the game right there. You don't get thrown on him. No matter what he's calling behind the plate, you still have to go get another bat. You still have to go play and do all that crap. Him getting thrown the game is a huge factor of why we lost too. But I also don't like when we get to playoffs, like Rocco, it's different. Like we shouldn't have these guys on pitch counts, whatever. Like Brios, he was so mad when he got pulled out of that game.
Oh,
he could have gone the distance in that game. You know what I'm saying? Like I just don't understand what.
Sorry, let me interrupt you really quick.
Yeah.
You know, the World Series, the big controversy was taking out Snell, right?
Snell, yeah.
Obviously a lot different, and this was a little earlier in the game, and Barrios wasn't quite as dominant. But what Jaren's mentioning, Barrios was dealing. Like,
he was lights out.
His pitch count was like, it wasn't high up there, but he wasn't going to go like 9 by any means. But he could have for sure gone another 2, 2.5. And as soon as he took him out, I knew the game was over. It was
like clockwork.
I'll let him continue on, but it was, yes, I'm backing him 100% on this. This was a terrible decision. I said it when it happened. Rocco screwed up big time there. So continue. But yeah, I just had I had to say I agree with you on that.
It seems like when it comes to playoff time, our team just gets like curls on the ball and thinks that everything is just bad's going to happen. Like, I don't know what's going on in the locker room or as coaches or as managers. They should get the guys together and be like, this is different this year. We're not the same team. We have zero on the same guys or whatever, like we need to be different. But I just don't see that mindset or whatever. And the whole team, like, it seemed like, except for like 4 people, when we got down, it's like, oh, it's over. But it's over. Like, whatever. Eddie was a big part in that, and I seen that when he got thrown out too. Like when we got down, his head was down. He's like, "Oh, it's over." He didn't really care, and that's what drove me nuts too. And I don't know.
Body language is huge. That's for sure.
It's huge. It is huge, and we have to rework. Like we have a lot of work to do with this lineup this year, but it's whatever. Playoffs, it doesn't come. It's really sad seeing the Twitter response to how bad the Twins are, our playoff loss, and it's whatever. My dad got to watch the Twins last time we won the World Series win in Minnesota, the game they won, and to me I'm like, why can't I experience that?
Right? I just want.
Why can't I get that? I just want to win one, but just to be there and to experience in the dome too. I'm just like, why can't I get that one? All that, but yeah.
It'll come one of these days. You know what? And that's something I've been telling myself. I just want one of my teams. I want to witness them win a championship. I don't care if one of them wins and they don't win for another 130 years. I just want to witness it one time and I'll be good.
You're going to live till 150 or what?
Well, I'm going to have to see my team win a championship. I'm going to have to.
Yeah.
Just one before I die.
But anyways, so Rocco Baldelli, that is going to bring me into my next point here. To me, from the outsider looking in as a non-Twins fan, it seems like he's kind of got a mixed reaction as far as the fan base go. You talk to some people, and some people think he's great. He's a great manager. They're happy he's here. He's bringing success, bringing the playoffs. But then you talk to another group of people, and they'll say, well, he might get us to the playoffs. But then, he just isn't the manager that's going to take us the distance, this, that, and the other. So, Nick, I'll actually start with you on this one. For you personally, what side do you fall on as far as Rocco Baldelli, and what do you think there?
I'm probably more anti-Rocco than pro-Rocco, but perhaps it's a little unwarranted. I don't know. I've been very critical of him. Now, granted, when you are being successful, you are going to get criticized for the times where you do make mistakes, right? So, I mean, perhaps that's what I'm doing. But like I said, maybe it's unwarranted because he's come here. He literally, in his 2 years, has won 2 division titles and had the best record in Minnesota Twins history, right? However, I mean, I'm sure a lot of it's got to do with him, but there's just some instances where I can point out, Jaren mentioned a couple in the playoff game. It's just like, what are you doing? So I'd say clearly he's done a good job, but it's like he just overthinks himself sometimes, and it's very frustrating. So I think he must obviously, get his players to want to win and buy into the system, right, and have success over the long run. But as far as like in-game decision making, I'm not really a fan. Back to Rosario in the playoffs. If I remember correctly, didn't Ed Rosario play like right field in the playoffs?
I think it was mostly all left because Kepler was in right. but
there was something. I can't remember what it was. He switched somebody.
I think he went to center or something.
Well, because Buxton was injured, and then he switched.
Yeah.
Whatever it was, he switched someone's position out come playoff time. Had played pretty much every game there in the regular season, and then all of a sudden come playoff time, he switches their position. It's like, I realize they're major league players. Outfield's, somewhat interchangeable, but it's like, why switch it now? And the Kirilloff thing, it's like, if calling him up, playing him, fine, but like, call him up earlier. That one is more so on general management than Rocco. But then his pitching, who to bring in and when, is just, I've never been a fan. I wasn't a fan of Gardy with that either, though. They just take guys out too late, or they put him in too early, or they take him out too early. It's like, I just almost never agree with when he takes his pitcher out, and it's very frustrating. But like I said, perhaps it's a little warranted because we've been very successful with him. So, I mean, it's obvious, like, he obviously should not be on the hot seat, I don't think, right now. Like, he's had a lot of success, and he definitely deserves a few more years yet. So we'll see what happens. But I don't know. I guess it's kind of a roller coaster with me and Rocco.
Sure. Jaren, what about you? Where do you fall?
Say I'm kind of with Nick, but I'm more pro Rocco. I'd say, because I think that he's a great manager for the guys in the locker room. I think they mess with him in order to win. How we've been winning. I feel like they have to have that trust in him. But I feel like when it comes to playoff time and playoff game management, he lacks a lot of confidence and ability there to do things. And that's where I feel like he could lose the locker room a little bit with, like, if that keeps happening. But I don't think it will. Hopefully, I have my fingers crossed. I don't think it will. But I think his pitching in-game management doesn't go over very well. Like, say we have a starter or a middle reliever who's doing well. Trevor May was doing great. Throw on Sergio Romo, game goes. The game blows. And I just think if you would have let him go a little bit longer, or pull him a little bit earlier, it could have been different. But I feel like we should just see how he does. This season. Now we're back to 162 games, whatever. Back to everything. If he can have success this season, because last time, his first season was manager of the year. So
yeah, right.
That was we'll see how he does. I have a lot of faith in him, but I'm at times very, very critical of the things that he does. But it's warranted in critical situations. Like, you have to make smart moves.
Yeah. I just think he overthinks himself. So.
He does. He overthinks himself a lot.
Like,
and it
you
shows.
Look at him, you can tell he's overthinking himself.
I think he overthinks himself during the season a lot, but it doesn't show because, we're usually up big, or we just come back with a walk-off. But in the playoff, when every pitch and every at-bat is so, critical, that's when it shows the most.
Mm-hmm.
But,
sure. Yeah. No, I feel it. I think a lot of times, too, and, Jaren, I'm sure you probably mentioned it, too, when the whole Blake Snell thing happened. I'm all fine with, analytics and that kind of stuff this day and age, because that's where sports are going. They're kind of going towards the analytical thing, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
But and I'm sure especially you play baseball too, knowing you get to a certain point in the game and you just have to trust your eyes and trust your gut with it. Analytics are great and they can help a ton of things. I think that's kind of how the Rays got to the World Series, was strictly off of the analytics. But there comes a time where you just have to trust your guys, and if a guy's dealing, you throw him out there until he starts showing that he can't do it, and then you take him out. And I think a lot of managers and people these days are really hesitant on doing that, even if they are going well, just because the analytics suggest they should do something else.
Yeah, analytics tell them, we should take them out or whatever, but
right.
They don't. Analytics aren't there. They aren't in the moment when you have the feeling of
right.
I can do. I'm in the zone right now. Why are you trying to throw me off?
Right. Yep, definitely. So we'll move into the offseason now for the Twins. They haven't made a lot of ginormous signings, but they have made a lot of little ones that can probably impact the team pretty well.
Very typical of the Twins.
Very typical of the Twins. So we're going to start probably with the biggest one, Nelson Cruz, bringing him back. That was really important for you guys to have your big power bet there. So, Jaren, I'm assuming you were probably pretty pleased about this one when you brought Cruz back.
Oh, yeah. I love Nelson. I know I was following that move all offseason. I knew that he was telling his camp and everyone that he wanted to come back. Maybe just for a year, but he wanted to come back. He wanted to see what we could still, seeing that we had unfinished business here, which we do. And I think just having him being in the locker room is a huge veteran figure for everyone else, being like that comfortable, oh yeah, we have Nelson and we can do these things with him, and everything is possible with Nelson too. So
for sure. Nick, I'm assuming it can't be too different from that.
Yeah, I was pretty confident for the most part the entire process that we would end up with Cruz. However, until we actually got him, you never know. So I was definitely delighted when I heard we re-signed him. I know he's 40. Eventually he's gonna fall off, but until it happens, I'm not going to bank on it. Just like with, not to compare the dude to Brady and LeBron, but it's like, they always act like they're gonna decline. It's like, well, yeah, eventually they will.
It hasn't happened yet.
But so. I'm not banking on it until they actually show it. So I still expect a good Nelson Cruz this year, a good 35 home runs at least if he stays healthy.
Oh yeah.
And I'm very glad we got him back.
You guys did lose a couple pitchers this offseason. Doetkott obviously just signed with Houston. Yeah. Rich Hill left earlier in the offseason.
Exactly, same move.
To Tampa. But you guys did bring in J.A. Happ. Probably be the 5th spot in the rotation. Maybe that. Randy Dobnak, who knows there. And then as far as that goes, and then you also left Trevor May, Tyler Clippard, Matt Wisler, and Sergio Romo also left too. But it seems like you guys have some guys that you brought up last year that've been progressing. And then you also brought in Hansel Robles and Alex Colomé as well too. Yeah. So overall, Nick, I'll start with you on this one. As far as the losses that you had and the people that you brought in, are you okay with the people that you lost, or how are you feeling there?
Yeah, I'm pretty happy. Well, I mean, we did make a huge move, which never happens. And at this point, we're just used to it. It's just not going to happen in Minnesota. However, we didn't lose anybody big. However, I've told you many times, and Jaren mentioned it. Yes, I agree with you. Eddie Rosario getting ejected was not a good look. And, the dude that sometimes has some bonehead plays, but he has been my favorite Twin for 4 years. I love me some Eddie Rosario. I'm looking at a Rosario picture in my room right now. I got a shirt. That's my boy. Has been for a long time, and the fact that we just pretty much got rid of him and he signed for like $8 million really ticks me off. But I'll get over it. And at least now Kirilloff can finally get an opportunity, and I think he'll be our opening day starter. But besides that, yeah, Odorizzi, whatever. That dude could throw. Odorizzi could be throwing a perfect game through 5 innings, and he'd still have 98 pitches. I've never seen a dude nibble around the corners so much. Like, he could be the most dominant pitcher you've ever seen on a given day, and he'll still just like have 13 pitch at bats because he just nibbles away because he's just like, it's like he thinks everything he throws is gonna get destroyed. It's like, no, dude, just go at him. So I don't.
But he does get destroyed bad. Like, he gets rocked.
at times, yeah. So I don't miss Odorizzi at all. I didn't want him back. I mean, yeah. It would have been nice to keep May, although he didn't do quite as good as I thought he would last year, but it would have been nice to keep him. But honestly, I don't really think besides Rosario, we lost anybody that impactful. And then as far as the additions, now I know bullpens are different often for everybody, but I swear the Twins have a different bullpen almost entirely every single year.
I don't remember anyone besides like 2 people.
We added Colomé, who's honestly one of the more underrated relievers and closers in all of baseball, and to make it better, we got him from the White Sox. Not that they really care because they got Hendricks, unfortunately. But getting Colomé is a huge addition. I don't know who's going to be our closer. I have a feeling we're going to go kind of closer by committee. But now you got Rogers and Colomé, who have both been closers for 2+ years, which is nice. And I think our bullpen should be fairly solid. I'm hoping from a bounce back from Robles, but you don't know. 2 years ago, he was one of the better closers in the game. Last year, it kind of sucked. So we'll see. But I like what they did as far as the bullpen. The Colomé addition was huge. And then Andrelton Simmons, I think, is a lot bigger of a deal than most people think. He's not the greatest hitter, but he's improved almost every year for the last 3 years, hitting-wise. But we don't necessarily need his bat.
No, I was just going to say that. We don't need him to hit.
The Twins offense took a step down last year, but we were still good. We still had a lot of home runs, and there's hitters throughout the lineup. Our weakness was defense, specifically the left side of the infield. With Donaldson injured, and you got to Rise or Marwin was pretty solid there for a utility player, especially. But with Polanco, who was probably the worst defensive shortstop in baseball, if we're being completely honest, and whoever was subbing in at third, our defense on the left side of the infield was not very good. If Donaldson stays healthy, and then Simmons, who is probably the best fielding defensive shortstop in all of baseball, we can have a very, very good left side of the infield. And then an argument could be made that Byron Buxton and Andrelton Simmons are two of the top 10 defenders in all of baseball.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
Same team, that's pretty solid. So, especially considering the Twins' pitching staff was actually pretty good last year. I believe we're like third in ERA for AL, but we don't strike out a lot of guys, which means the ball's getting hit in play. You need defense. So Andrelton Simmons is a huge addition, a very huge addition, and I think it's going to show. The one thing I would like to see is a Rise play second consistently, whereas it looks like it's going to be Polanco and a Rise.
I don't like that. Because
I'm not a Polanco fan.
Neither am I.
But at least he's not at short anymore. So I really like the Simmons addition.
Jaren, first off, I want to mention something here. The Twins bullpen wins above replacement last year, third in MLB in 2020. So it's
pretty good,
great. So they got to improve on that.
It's 2 years in a row. They've actually been pretty good. Where
yeah.
2 years. Like it, but.
So what do you think about some of the moves they've made this offseason and some of the guys that they've lost?
Well, I think Nick really hit most of the points that I wanted to get to. I was sad to see Trevor May go. I really liked him. I think he threw hard. I think he gave everything to the game. Yeah, like getting back on, you said, like Eddie, like I've been a fan of Eddie's. I love him, but just knowing that he wasn't a good locker, I heard that just reports and podcasts was to Score North said he wasn't a very good locker room guy. Like he was more of a me guy. I see that play out in the playoffs. I've just seen. Okay, well, you know what? You're not getting any younger. I don't think your bat's going to improve anymore. I don't think it could get any better. So you're going to start to hit your decline. We might as well just get. I thought we could get something for him, but we just let him go pretty much. And seeing him go to Cleveland really hurts. But I don't like Cleveland either way, so that makes me just dislike them even more.
I mean, to be honest, I'm glad I get to at least see him a decent amount.
Yeah, that's true. But hey, we'll trade giving Eddie to them for Lindor leaving the AL.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a win.
But Odorizzi, I don't know, good riddance. That's what I can say to you, Sergio Romo. See you later. I hope you get rocked wherever you go. I don't like you. But I think getting Simmons really helps, the left side. Like Nick said, is going to be literally, you can't get a ball past. If Simmons and Donaldson play, I will. If a ball gets hit there, I'm like, hey, you're getting thrown out. Even if one of them dives, the other one gets it, you're getting thrown out. Unless you're Buxton speed, no one's going to beat the ball that they throw. It's going to happen. And I do think Arai should play second. That's his primary position. That's not Polanco's primary position. Polanco showed that he's not a very strong defender for us. So, let Arise play. He's much better. Okay, I'm going to stop that. Arise is he's better at having at-bats, at drawing them out, seeing the pitches. Polanco, I mean, he'll hit more home runs than Arise, I guess. But, when push comes to shove, I want Arise in there with the at-bats to, just draw them out and see as many pitches as he can. And either get a walk or a base hit, which we've seen him do multiple times. So,
sure, yeah. I am interested to get your guys' opinion on one player though, Byron Buxton. Now, is this now obviously his defense will never be in question. As Nick mentioned, probably one of the best defensive center fielders in baseball.
Yeah, platinum
for sure.
Platinum.
Jaren, I'm gonna start with you here on this one. Byron Buxton now. His hitting, I think, is the main concern. At times, he has shown that he can hit. No one's going to question his defense. No one's going to question his speed. At times, he's shown he can hit. But a lot of times, he has shown that he cannot and that he's also not been able to stay healthy. So in your opinion, what do you think the Twins should do with Byron Buxton? Do you think you keep him in there and try and know that defensive-wise, he's going to get a gold glove, but offensive, it's hit or miss. You're not quite sure what you're going to get from him. Do you keep him, or do you try and explore something else? Maybe someone who has a little bit of a better bat.
I think we keep him, honestly, because the thing is with Byron is if he stays healthy, like we've seen last year, he was hitting home runs like every single game and getting on base and coming up. And he did. And there was a game where we had a runner on third and he pretty much hits it and beats the throw, and then that's a game winner right there. Like, we need him to, like, if he can stay healthy, I think the hitting will come. And that's the thing. If he stays in the lineup every single day for, every game, the hitting will come. Like, we've seen it, it will. Like, I honestly believe you need to hold out on him for a little bit. Unless, like, he cannot stay healthy, then it's go time. Like, that's the main thing. You can't, like, be going crashing into walls in preseason games and games that don't matter. We're not going to be jumping into walls and stuff like that. Like, that doesn't need to be happening. But he does save a lot of runs, and players are timid to run and don't do stuff when he's out there. And on the base pass, like, he disrupts pitchers. Like, say he gets on, he's going to mess with their head, and we need that every single day. So I think we need honestly we need to keep him. Like,
he's like the only pitcher on a team.
Exactly. Exactly.
Nick, what do you think?
Well, let me just start with this. Lucas, how many career MLB postseason home runs do you have?
I do not have any.
What's your average?
I don't have an average right now.
How many putouts do you got?
I don't have any. Well, unless you're counting MLB The Show, because then I've got a ton of all of those.
Well, congratulations. You have the same career postseason stats as Byron Buxton.
True.
The dude never plays in the playoffs because he's injured. So if a trade comes around, you're darn right I'm taking it. I like Buxton. He's a hell of a baseball player. And 2 years ago when we won 101 games, 2 years ago especially, he didn't even bat that well. But you could tell when he played, we were a better team. We just were. But he just doesn't play enough. And I'm sick of just hoping he stays healthy. If you could guarantee me he'd stay healthy, yes, there's no way on earth I'm trading him. But if a good trade offer comes around, I'm taking it in a heartbeat. Unfortunately, our outfield depth is not that great, which would kind of worry me for when he's gone. Who would replace him? But then he's going to get injured game 60 this year anyways. We're going to have to replace him anyways. So, yes, if a trade comes around, I'm trading him because at the end of the day, he just can't stay healthy. It's just the way it is. It sucks. It's unfortunate. But I'm sick of relying on a guy who just won't play come playoff time. He's just always hurt. It's just the way it is. So, yes, I would trade him if a trade comes around.
Sure. Yeah, that's fair.
The hitting, I'll address that. Yes, he's not a great hitter, but honestly, as long as Buxton's healthy, if he bats 235, he's productive, especially in a lineup where the Twins have many other hitters, because his importance is his base running when he gets on base and his fielding. If he's going to bat 8 or 9 in the lineup, all you need to do is bat 235, and you're good, and it's good for me. And honestly, he hit like 13 home runs last year, so if he does anywhere close to those power numbers this year, his batting won't be an issue. The only thing that's my issue is his durability.
Sure. Yeah, that's fair. They always say the best kind of ability is availability, and if you're not available,
that's true.
But no, I see both sides for sure. So let's move on. Prediction times. Everybody loves a good prediction here. So Jaren, you are the guest of honor. So we'll start with you. Assuming we're going to have 162 games this year, that's what it looks like so far. Where do you see the Twins finishing the division? If you have an actual 92 wins, some losses, that's great. I don't expect you to do that because I didn't even do that myself. So
no, I don't have
to finish the division. What do you think?
But I think we're going to win the division, and I don't think it's going to be coming down until we're going to win out. I don't think the White Sox pretty handily. I'm not counting out the White Sox. Everyone thinks I'm saying that they're trash and not counting them out. Yeah. I just don't think they're going to be better than us. I don't. We own Lucas Giolito. Kemp was going to hit leadoff dingers.
We do own Lucas Giolito.
We own Lucas Giolito. Dallas Keuchel, I'm not worried about him.
Just like Kepler owned Trevor Bauer.
Exactly. I think the Twins will win out the division right away. Playoffs difficult. I don't want to put my foot in my mouth before he just gets swept. Just gets swept. But I think that we could be one of the top 5 team in the AL, or even MLB, honestly. But if we can,
sure. Do you think the Twins have what it takes to go all the way, in your opinion? I know you just said you don't want to make too big predictions in case they get swept again, but, based off of the roster that they have now and what you think they could do you think it's possible?
I think we could say trade deadline comes around, we add another not like a big pitcher, but someone that could do something. I think that we could do it.
Sure.
Once we get that, I tell everybody if we can get that one playoff win, we could win it all. We could do whatever we want. But yeah, I think we do. I think we do have a chance.
Nick?
Oh, the Twins definitely have what it takes. Am I going to predict them to do it? No. Are they going to? Probably not. They've lost 18 plus games in a row. But do they have the potential? Absolutely. I mean, I think in most sites you look at, we're top 8 in World Series odds. That obviously means we're a good team. We have what should be a solid closer, whether it's Rogers, Colomé, whoever it is, a decent bullpen. We have 2 frontline starters in Mayetta and Barrios. We have, when healthy, a lot of good defenders to at least make ourselves a top half in defense as a team. And we obviously have hitting. And nowadays, especially in the playoffs, it's about the home run ball. A lot of times in a playoff game, you'll get 4 hits. But if 3 of them are home runs, that's all you need, because it's timely hitting and pitching that wins come playoff time. So the Twins absolutely have what it takes to win. Will they? Probably not. But they have what it takes.
Sure. Yeah. If I'm making a prediction, I do think the Twins win the division. I'm 100% everything, Jaren, that you said. I think the Twins are going to win the division. I particularly don't think it's going to be close. Chicago, Nick and I have been saying this for a little bit. I think they're a year out, and this was last year, of being really good. Now, having said that, now we are at the year out point now. Yeah. I still think the Twins are the better team. I still think the Twins are going to win the division. But I do think the White Sox will make the playoffs probably as a wild card team. And after that, I don't know what happens. But I don't think you should have any stress or concern about the Twins maybe losing the division. I think that's...
No, I don't think so.
I'm actually quite surprised, because Jaren and I are obviously Twins fans. I don't think I'm biased in my prediction, but obviously it's...
I'm definitely biased.
There's going to be a little bit of bias in there, right? But obviously you don't have it. You're a Rockies fan, so you saying you're pretty confident, that surprised me, because if you look, most sites, sites that you look at have the White Sox with better World Series odds and are predicting them to win the division. Obviously, that's not crazy. I mean, they have a very good roster, and
they have a stacked team.
And up until the last week last year, where they blew it, they would have won the division. However, I do truly think, and we'll have our MLB preview in 2 weeks or so, Lucas, and we'll go over this, and I'll give you an actual amount of wins I think us and the White Sox will both get. However, right now, I am confident we'll win the division. The White Sox are good, but to me, it's very close. And if it's close, I'm going to lean with the team who's already proven it 2 years in a row that they can win.
Yeah, we're back-to-back champs.
If Barrios and Mayetta, to me, the only question is if Barrios and Mayetta stay healthy, both of them the whole full season, and so far Barrios has pretty much been healthy his whole career. Those are the only 2 guys who, in injury, would really devastate us, and maybe Cruz. Anybody else we can overcome. But as long as Mayetta and Barrios stay healthy, I'm confident we win the division. But I think it's incredibly important because, for one, the Yankees are to me, the 3 best teams in the American League are us, the Yankees, and the White Sox. And I don't think the Yankees are as good as people think, and that division is really good. So I truly think whoever wins the American League Central Division will have the number 1 seed in the American League. I don't think Houston and Oakland are that great, and they'll compete against each other. And the AL Central is not going to be good besides us 2, because the Royals, they actually have a pretty good offense. They'll be better than what they think, but they're not good. The Tigers will be terrible, and the Indians will struggle to get to 500 because they won't have any offense at all. They lost Santana, they lost Lindor, and Jose Ramirez is just going to get pitched around all season. He's probably going to have 400 on-base percentage because he's going to go walked every at-bat.
And Shane Bieber can't pitch every night, so they're going to. There's some games they're going to go through.
So whoever wins our division, I truly think might get the 1 seed. That's why it's incredibly important, because not only do I think it's going to be the difference of a 1 seed or a wild card, but you don't want to have 94 wins and be a wild card, especially with the Twins' postseason success. So it's really crucial. I'm leaning Twins. I'm going to pick us to win the division, but the White Sox are good, but we'll see. I'm thinking, like I said, I'll give you a win total for sure in the future, but I'm thinking right now, 96-ish. which is quite good.
Fair.
But I
can see that.
I agree. Cool. So this is we're just about at the end of the Twins podcast here, but this is my absolute favorite part of the podcast. And I've done this with all the guests that have come on to talk about their major league teams. We get to know a little bit more about you as a Twins fan. Now, it's going to be some questions that might put you on the spot. So if you have to think about it, that's fine. But I just love it. This is my favorite part. So Nick, I guess if you want to do it too, you can. But so first question is, who, Jaren, is your all-time favorite Twins player and why?
This is really tough because I have two in particular.
That's fine. Yeah, go ahead.
One of them is Joe Mauer, obviously. Every Twins. I grew up as a catcher when I was a young kid, and I always had number 7 because I wanted to be like Joe Mauer. The other is Torrey Hunter because I wore 48 too, and I was an outfielder too growing up. So I loved him. I loved his attitude around baseball and stuff, and especially when he came and solidified it when he came back to the Twins to end his career, when he was a huge locker room guy for us and just for us. And now he just announces for everybody for the Twins games too. That just played a huge part of it. I like him at times. There's some times I'm like, Torrey, shut up, like you need to be talking. But I do enjoy him.
He's better than LaTroy.
He is. He's way better than Troy. But I'd say Torrey Hunter probably edges Joe Mauer out as my favorite Twin. Just from strictly watching him in Dome days during the Dome days.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. Nick, what about you?
That's tough, Yes, a lot of people are like, it's going to be Puckett, right? It's like, no, I wasn't even alive when the dude is playing.
Yeah,
right? So it's like, I'm not going to count that, But like, mine's similar. It's, I loved Mauer. I mean, how can't you? The dude is Mr. Minnesota. I mean, he's never, there's not a negative thing you can say about the guy. He's one of the best catchers of all time. And I've always liked the dude. Torrey Hunter was probably, my favorite growing up. Actually, the center fielder who replaced him I've actually liked all our center fielders. I was a big Carlos Gomez fan. I was a huge Denard Spann fan. I actually got to meet Denard Spann and play catch with him. Have all sorts of autographs from him. That was really cool. I mean, I literally met this dude in a park and played catch with Denard Spann. That was really cool. So Denard Spann's one of my favorites. Jim told me for the 2 or 3 years he was here. I mean, how did he not
electric? He was electric.
Considering how much I've cared about the Twins in the the last 4 or 5 years, I don't know. I mean, it's probably either Mauer or my boy Eddie. I mean, I loved Eddie Rosario. I just did, man. I just loved him. So it's one of those two. But Torrey Hunter's there too. I mean, I just watched Torrey Hunter highlights, like a 10-minute video of Torrey Hunter highlights the other day. God, that dude was good. Oh my God. I used to really like Christian Guzman back in the day, by the way, too. So I don't know. I don't know if I really have one or another, but
that's all right.
Rosario, Mauer, Johan was obviously awesome.
Johan, Kemp,
best pitcher the Twins have ever had, and it's not even remotely close.
Oh,
yeah.
By the way, if you take any pitcher in history, like a 3-year span, Johan's got one of the best of all time. He does. In his absolute prime, Johan's one of the best pitchers to ever walk the earth.
You just knew that when he was going out on the mound in that stretch that he was going to get a dub. Like it was going to be an amazing dub that he was going to go out there and do.
So to very indirectly answer your question, I don't know, probably Mauer or Rosario.
Oh, that's fine. Cool. Okay, so question number 2, Jaren, for you. All-time favorite non-Twins player. So they could have played for the Twins at one point or another, but they had to have spent the majority of their career on another team.
All-time non-favorite Twin. I have a lot. Oh gosh. Part of me wants to say Brian Dozier, but that's like a casual thing.
Sure.
I think. Say growing up, okay. Up until Mike Trout came to the league, I was obsessed with Matt Kemp.
Really? Okay.
Yes. I had a Dodgers hat, a Dodgers like jersey with Matt Kemp 27 on the back.
Okay.
I remember
he was really good till he got injured, man.
He was. I remember watching the 40-40 season. One of my friends, he'll always tweet at me. He calls me Matt Kemp because I would always talk about Matt Kemp every day. I'd probably say Matt Kemp. I was obsessed with the dude.
You know, I respect that a lot. As a Rockies fan,
you definitely hated Matt Kemp
all the time, and my God, there's a short list of people that are Rocky killers. Matt Kemp is on there. Freddie Freeman is on there. Will Myers balls out against us for whatever reason, but Matt Kemp, he's on the Rockies now, but he was a fun player to watch. I think he definitely now, after Ryan Braun, the whole steroid thing, Matt Kemp got screwed out of the MVP, and I'm fine with saying that.
He did.
Biggest twin killers, at least in recency. Number 2, probably Edwin Encarnacion. Number 1, and I'm sure you'll agree with me on this, Didi Gregorius.
My God.
Didi Gregorius is the best player to ever play baseball as long as he's playing the Twins. I went to a Twins game 2 years ago. He went like 5 for 6 with 2 doubles, a home run, and 8 RBIs. The dude does knock it out against him.
He doesn't really produce outside the Twins, but when sometimes he plays the Twins, he's just an all-star. It's a guy.
He went to the National League. I was so happy. I'm like, yes.
I almost cried tears of joy. I'm like, get this guy out of the AL for good. Don't come back. We don't want you back in the AL. Just like Lindor, he's got to be 3rd on the list too, because that man's would just kill the Twins. And I was just
not necessarily with average, but he hit a home run every
home runs. It was just like, dude, get out of here, go away.
Nick, what about you? All-time favorite non-twin?
This is really hard. There's a lot, and I actually kind of talked about this the other day. So historically, I've liked these really fast base stealing guys. You know, the Carl Crawfords of the world, and Jose Reyes was my favorite a long time ago, and just these big old fat dudes, really. Pablo Sandoval, Prince Fielder, David Ortiz, Jose Reyes, Madison Bumgarner. As far as current players have been my favorite over the last few years. The Giants are by far my second favorite team after the Twins, so I love Posey, Sandoval, Bumgarner. But if I had to pick one, and I don't know if I should really go with him because I barely even remember him playing. But if I could do anything, if I could see anybody taking at bat today, I wouldn't pick, the Gehrigs, the Roos of the world. I'd take this guy. You probably can't see it. Barry Bonds. I just got this autograph of Barry Bonds a while back. I'm very proud of it. I love me some Barry Bonds. To me, say what you want. I know he took steroids. He's the greatest hitter to ever live. So I don't know. I'd probably say Barry Bonds.
Sure.
Lucas, how do you like that he's a Giants fan? Do you guys butt heads or what?
Well, knowing that he's a Twins fan, it's fine. But every once in a while, and I can't say much because, like I said, the Rockies are bad. So the Giants, they have the 3 World Series in 6 years. So what can I say? Well, you're right. Yeah. But it is what it is, I guess.
Right now, though, currently, Christian Yelich is probably my favorite non-twin.
It's fair. All right, Jaren. Now you're gonna these next 2. You're probably really gonna have to think about. You maybe not so much the first one, but what is your all-time favorite Twins moment? So it can be some random game at the end of July that nobody but a Twins fan is gonna remember. It can be a playoff moment. But what, in your opinion, is your favorite Twins moment, best Twins moment of all time?
This is a tie. Jim Tome's when he hit that moonshot at Target Field.
Gosh, that ball was so far.
That was amazing. And then it has to be 09 against the Tigers, game 162, when Casilla hit the walk-off. That was so cool. I remember just being close, I was a pretty young kid, but just glued to the TV and watching it. When that happened, I freaked.
Sure.
So it was still in the Dome days too. So not for the Dome. We couldn't have gone on the bed, but
you're a big Dome fan, huh?
Oh yeah, I went to so many games at the Dome. My family are huge Twins fans.
Target Field's beautiful. It's a very good park, and
it's
good we have.
But it doesn't have the Dome effect.
When I watch, and obviously, the Dome wasn't the greatest. A lot of people don't like the Dome, right? But it was unique. It made us special. And every once in a while, especially when I watch old Twins highlights, and I've been to the Dome plenty of times too. Every once in a while, I'm like, dang, I miss the Dome.
It's just like the history with it too, with like the player cards hanging in center field too.
And it would get really
great.
I can imagine if I went to the Twins playoff game 2 years ago or whatever it was. I just imagine if I was never at one at the Dome. I just imagine how loud that would have gotten.
Yeah.
Inside there.
Yep. I remember watching when I was a kid, actually, the 2009 game with the Twins and Tigers. So I don't remember a whole lot from the game, but I always remember Carlos Gomez diving into home at the end of the game for the walk-off there.
Helmet's already off his head.
Helmet's just Bryce Harper tossing off, just gone. Yeah. No, I remember that. Nick, what about you?
Okay, so it should be 09, game 163. Some reason, though, and I'm almost ashamed and sad in the fact that some reason I cannot remember that game that well. I just can't. I would have been 12 years old. I should remember it. For the life of me, though, I mean, I obviously, and I've watched highlights, but yeah, Casilla hit the ball up the middle, Gomez scored. Some reason, I can barely remember that game, though. I can remember the year before, 163 against the White Sox, where Jim Thome hit the home run in like the 8th inning to beat us. Maybe it's the pessimistic Twins fan in me, and the Minnesota sports have just put such a number on me that I remember our losses and I can't remember the wins. I don't know. So it should be game 163 against the Tigers, but some reason I just don't remember that game that well. I just don't. So I suppose it's got to be the Thome walk-off is pretty good. The game against the Yankees, I went to both 2 straight Yankee games 2 years ago. The one where we lost in extra innings, like 14-13, which, by the way, is the greatest regular season game I will probably ever go to. One of the greatest in the last decade for sure. If we would have won that game, that would by far be my favorite memory, but we didn't. The day before, though, we turned a triple play on Edwin Encarnacion. Cruz and Polanco went back-to-back, so that was just that game itself was a good memory. But I don't know. Maybe the Joe Maurer walk-off against Fenway, that was pretty good for me because I love my boy Joe. So I honestly...
That's up there, too.
I can't really pick one specific instance. As soon as the Twins win a playoff game, then I will.
Oh, yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. Nice. Okay, and then the last question. Now, your all-time favorite MLB moment that did not involve the Twins.
I'll go because I got one. Bumgarner's 5-inning save. I think he got credit for a save against the Royals, and ultimately ending in the pop-up to Pablo Sandoval to win it.
Okay, that's fair. That's a good one. Jaren?
I'd say probably just the reaction on Twitter and on the stands after the Cubs won the World Series. Just seeing, that was just seeing how cool it was. It wasn't, the game was awesome too, but remember Lucas, we watched it in the dorm, allowing to the dorm rooms, everyone was in there. But just seeing, the relief off their shoulders and stuff, I think that was cool. That was super cool for them.
You know, what's funny about that, Jaren, you mentioned that video. The other day, I was actually just scrolling through my Snapchat memories, and I have that video saved of when the Cubs got the final out and we were all in there. I have that one, and then I have Clemson beating Alabama when Deshaun Watson was there. Hunter Renfrow had the pick, and everyone was just hyped as heck. Man, there's a few of those in there, but that was a good one.
I almost always root against our division. Some people are like, no, root for the division. It's like, no, why would I do that? I almost always root against our division. However, I must say that World Series, I cheering for the Indians. I don't know why. I just don't like the Cubs. I just don't. Maybe I'm just glad somebody had a longer losing streak than we did. I don't know. And now
could be it.
So I didn't want the Cubs to win, so that wasn't quite as good for me. Good for them, though. I mean, that would obviously be amazing as a fan to win this.
Yeah, both of those are great. I think my favorite non-Rockies moment probably is when we were playing in the World Baseball Classic and Adam Jones had that catch in center field against Puerto Rico. I think Manny Machado hit it.
Manny, he scaled the wall.
The fans were just electric. I mean, I can truly say, I don't know if this makes me a bad sports fan, there's not many times where I can truly say watching a sports game that I have gotten chills. I've had great moments watching a lot of games in my life, but that is one moment I can truly say I got chills for it. Adam Jones obviously was kind of, getting towards the end, but just what he did for Baltimore and all that, and that catch that he had against his teammate Machado at the time, and, just the USA chants and everything. I mean,
he was huge during that, too.
Was that the WBC where Marcus Stroman was just going off?
Yeah. Jones and Stroman were actually very, very huge for us in that. Even I'll add on that, too, Lucas. Another moment was Stanton's home run against Urban Santana. The absolute one, and just took out the brick at the just those moments. And to Adam Jones, he came through clutch, and especially that he scaled the wall. He Superman'd out there and caught the ball. That was amazing.
I remember Arenado during one of the games. Arenado dove in the first base and was actually safe. And I remember he was hyped as hell. I as a Rockies fan, I was holding my breath. I was like, dear God, please tell me you didn't hurt yourself. But as a USA fan, that was electric to watch. But yeah. But anyways, cool. So we're at the end of the podcast now, Jaren. First off, I want to thank you for coming on. I hope you had a great time.
It was fun. A lot of fun. I always have fun talking to my twins.
Heck yeah. So if you want to go ahead and if you want to put out Twitter handles or anything where fans can reach you at or anything specific you want to plug or whatever, go ahead. Feel free.
I would say follow me at J_Skarphol14 on Instagram and on Twitter. Super fun, guys. Keep it up. I've always been a fan. Lucas told you a long time ago, a fan of the podcast.
Yeah.
Listen to all the episodes. A bunch of my friends come on here too, so it was actually fun to hop on. It's really fun to hop on somewhere where someone can talk and have a knowledge of what we're talking about, and actually be able to have a knowledgeable conversation about baseball.
I'd like to think I know what I'm talking about sometimes.
Sometimes, but I'm actually happy baseball's back. We've waited a long time, and actually, hopefully. My fingers are crossed, man. I only thing I ever want this summer is to spend multiple nights at Target Field.
Yeah. I've been telling Lucas lately, I don't know why, but some reason I'm more excited for baseball this season than possibly any time in my entire life. I don't even care about March Madness right now. I just want to skip the next 3 weeks and get to April 1st so bad. I'm so ready for baseball right now.
Just like the atmosphere, I feel like just having to allow fans back. Minnesota loves the Twins. I can't tell you how much we love them. And just being having Target Field be able, we'd love them, and just being able to be at Target Field, even if it's a bad I told everyone a night at Target Field is never a bad night. Even if the Twins lose, it's never a bad night being spent at Target Field.
I went to 10 games in the 101 win season, and they were all very worth it.
I went to I think 6, and they were so worth it, just being there, just being able to, and you don't really notice it, but especially last year, I take it for granted. It's good. It's right. It's great for the soul. I went to a couple of town team games last summer. It's just great for the soul to be at a baseball game in the summertime.
I don't know if Lucas told you, he's playing town team with me this year for Arlington.
Really?
You'll have to come to a game.
Playing for Arlington.
Yeah, let me know. I'll come watch, honestly.
Yeah, you never got to see my true baseball thing. That's you and I both doing the manager stuff there. But
I didn't get to, no.
Oh, that's funny. No. But awesome. Yeah, so we're at the end of the show now, folks. If you want to follow the podcast on Twitter, you can follow us at DND_podcast. If you want to follow myself, at Lucas_Dorton. If you want to follow Nick on Twitter, at Doetkott. So be sure to do that. Follow those ones. Follow Jaren's Instagram, Twitter. We'll put that out there for you, too, so you can see it. But anyways, Jaren, like I said, thank you for coming on. I had a great time.
Thanks, guys. I had a lot of fun.
Sure, thanks for joining us.
But as for Nick, Jaren, and myself, we're done with episode 55. And until next time, we are out.